Normally, a given program's code runs straight along from top to the bottom with only one thing happening at once. If a function relies on the results of another function, it has to wait for the other function to finish and return. And until that happens, the entire program is essentially stopped from the perspective of the user. This is a very frustrating experience and isn't a good use of computer processing power, especially in an era in which computers have multiple processor cores available. There's absolutely no sense sitting there waiting for something when you could let the other tasks chug along on another processor core and let you know when it's done. This lets you get other work done in the meantime and is the basis of asynchronous programming. Okay, this is an example of asynchronous programming and callback function. Okay, so this is doing a calculation and then displaying the result. So we have the function my displayer. Okay, and what it's doing is accepting a parameter and then it's finding the HTML element with the ID of demo and setting its content to whatever is passed when my displayer function is called. So another function that we declared is my calculator. This accepts three parameters. The first is a number, the second is a number, and the last is a callback function. So, so inside this function, we call the callback and pass the sum of the first number and the second number. The first number is 5. The second number is also 5. And then we passed my displayer as the callback function. Okay, the first, this is my calculator. We created a function here and then we called it in this line. My calculator is expecting three parameters. The first is a number, the second is a number, and the third is a callback function. So this callback function that we passed is my displayer. Okay, so my calculator is going to add 5 plus 5 and then it will call my displayer passing the summation of 5 and 5, which is 10. Okay, you can copy this code or type it out in your code editor and run it to understand it better. In the example above, my displayer is the name of a function. It is a callback function because it is passed into my calculator function as an argument. In the real world, callbacks are most often used with asynchronous functions. A typical example is JavaScript setTimeout. When using the JavaScript function setTimeout, you can specify a callback function to be executed on timeout. So this is how you call the setTimeout function. You pass the callback and then you pass the duration in milliseconds. So our callback in this case is my function, which is this.